Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Golden Bachelorette Chock Chapple never saw himself on reality TV. The Golden Bachelorette contestant, Chock Chapple, admits that he never saw himself on reality television. He just spent an amazing one-on-one date with Joan Vassos in the September 25th episode. So now that is working his way into her heart, what more is there to know about Chock's relationship with the show? Keep reading for more details. Chock Chapple never saw himself on reality TV. When Chock Chapple first got out of the limo to meet the first ever Golden Bachelorette, Joan Vassos, he had a surprise. He had chock-o noodle soup for her to try, which viewers were mixed on. Some felt it was the sweetest gesture since she was all about homemade soup. Yet others would never drink random soup out of a container from a man they had never met. It won Joan over because the two have a very strong connection. They went on a very memorable date to Disneyland, which culminated with a dinner date fit for a princess and her prince, plus fireworks to boot. Though Joan has been on reality television, vying for Jerry Turner's heart on The Golden Bachelor, this is all new for Chock. He had never watched any of the Bachelor shows, let alone thought about being on one. For that matter, he never imagined he would be on reality TV. According to Glamour, getting on the show was all Chock's daughter, Taylor, who signed him up for the show. As it turns out, it was one of Taylor's friends who saw the casting call for the Golden Bachelorette. She thought Chock would be perfect for it and suggested they apply. It was almost instantly that production called Chock. Although he was not sure if he wanted the notoriety, he also did not want to miss out on the opportunity. At ease? Admittedly, Chock Chapple does not want to be nervous at his age, 60, but could have been at Disneyland. While waiting for Joan Vassos to arrive for their date, it could have happened. Then, Joan put him completely at ease and they had an amazing time. However, Chock still has no idea what Taylor put on the application to get him on the show. She just said Joan was his type, and yes, he says she is attractive and kind. Plus, Taylor is familiar with her from The Golden Bachelor, so playing matchmaker, it seemed she did quite well. Chock Chapple never imagined he would find himself on reality TV, let alone as a contestant vying for love on The Golden Bachelorette. A retired high school principal from Michigan, Chock had always lived a quiet, measured life. He preferred long afternoons on his porch, reading classic novels and working in his vegetable garden over the fast-paced, attention-seeking world of reality television. For Chock, the world of love and dating had faded into a soft memory, overshadowed by years of working, raising children, and the steady passage of time. After his wife of 35 years passed away 5 years ago, he quietly accepted that his time for romance was over. However, fate had other plans for Chock. It all started when his daughter, Lisa, signed him up for the show as a surprise. She had always been the adventurous one in the family, the dreamer, the one who believed in taking leaps of faith. To her, the Golden Bachelorette was the perfect opportunity for her dad to embrace a new chapter of life. "Dad, you've given so much to everyone else," she told him when she revealed the secret. "You deserve to have some fun and find happiness again." At first, Chock was mortified by the idea. The thought of stepping into the world of cameras, dramatic confessionals, and public displays of affection was entirely foreign to him. Reality TV, me, he had laughed, shaking his head. He pictured the over-the-top contestants he'd seen on shows like The Bachelor, young, gorgeous people in their 20s, all perfectly manicured and poised for drama. What place could he, a 68-year-old man with silver hair and a preference for plaid shirts, possibly have in that world? But Lisa had been persistent, and eventually Chock relented. What's the worst that could happen, he thought. At the very least, it would be an interesting experience, a story to tell his grandkids someday. So, with a mix of trepidation and curiosity, Chock agreed to the adventure. Before he knew it, he was on a plane to Los Angeles, heading toward an opulent mansion filled with a group of extraordinary women, all looking for love. The mansion was as extravagant as Chock had imagined. Sweeping staircases, crystal chandeliers, and an expansive garden filled with roses set the scene. As he stepped out of the limo on the first night, the cameras captured his every move, and for the first time in his life, Chock felt the weight of being in the spotlight. He smoothed his shirt, adjusting the boutonniere the producers had given him, and took a deep breath. The women he met were nothing like what he had expected. These were women with rich life stories, full of laughter, wisdom, and grace. From a retired college professor to a former CEO turned yoga instructor, each woman had lived a life as complex as his own. They weren't looking for a fantasy, just real, genuine connection. The conversations weren't about trivial things, but deep, meaningful topics: children, loss, rediscovery, and hopes for the future. At first, Chock struggled to find his footing in the show. The competitive aspect was a bit strange to him. How could one compete for love? It felt unnatural, but slowly he began to settle into the rhythm of the show. The structured dates, the rose ceremonies, these became part of his new reality. And as the weeks went by, Chock realized he was actually enjoying himself. He found companionship and camaraderie with the other contestants, both men and women. One of the standout moments for Chock came during a group date at the beach. It was a relaxed, fun day with sandcastle competitions and volleyball. Chock was teamed up with a woman named Eleanor, a retired elementary school teacher with a quick wit and a contagious laugh. As they built their sandcastle, Chock found himself opening up in ways he hadn't in years. They talked about their late spouses, the joy of grandchildren, and their dreams for the years they had ahead of them. It was the first time in a long time that Chock felt a flicker of something he hadn't expected: hope. Eleanor and Chock continued to grow closer over the following weeks. What started as a friendship blossomed into something more. There was no drama, no grand, orchestrated moments of romance for the cameras. Instead, it was the quiet conversations, the shared glances, the laughter over dinner that drew them together. In a world where everything seemed designed for show, their connection felt real, grounded, and sincere. As the season progressed, Chock became a fan favorite. Viewers connected with his authenticity, his gentle sense of humor, and his vulnerability. He wasn't trying to be someone he wasn't, and that's exactly what people loved about him. The producers, who initially weren't sure what to make of the unassuming retired principal, quickly realized they had a star on their hands. By the time the final rose ceremony arrived, Chock had experienced a transformation. He had stepped out of his comfort zone in ways he never thought possible. He had learned that love doesn't have an expiration date, that it can come in the most unexpected forms and at any stage of life. Standing in the mansion's garden, under a canopy of twinkling lights, Chock felt at peace, no matter the outcome. When Eleanor stepped out to meet him, dressed in a simple yet elegant gown, Chock smiled. This time, he wasn't nervous. He wasn't thinking about the cameras or the millions of viewers watching. All that mattered was the person standing in front of him. And as he reached out to take her hand, Chock knew that the adventure, as improbable as it seemed, had led him exactly where he was meant to be. In the end, Chock Chapple never saw himself on reality TV. But in taking the leap, he discovered something far greater than a fleeting moment of fame. He found a second chance at love, proving that life's most beautiful surprises can come when we least expect them.